Adversity is an interesting thing. Adversity to me is really the basis of our character and the fundamentals and the morals and values that we live with today. And interesting story goes back to my childhood. There were so many occasions when I felt afraid for my life. Growing up in a very harsh environment, I had situations where we dealt with physical abuse from my parents, and we would get hit with anything that they could find, anything that they would reach for, whether it was sticks from outside on the trees, or if it was a shoe, or my dad would come home and take off his belt. And they used to think that physical abuse and physical punishment was the proper methodology in order to get us to behave. And I have an older brother who used to think the same. And every day I'd wake up, I would go to school, get ready, go to school, come home from a full day of learning and possibly getting picked on at school or what have you. There were always bullies in school. Come home, and then I'd get picked on and beat up by my older brother. And it didn't happen every day, but when it did happen, it was pretty substantial, because he was a lot bigger than I was. And I just remember there were days where I couldn't take it, and it became so overwhelming at times. And the interesting thing about it was that it frustrated my sisters to the point where when my mom and dad would come home, all they could do was complain to them. And because of that, my mom and dad used to get frustrated, and I would get hit again by them. So I finally got smart. I finally got hip to it. And back then, we didn't have the internet to be able to log on to Google and search, through white pages or yellow pages. So we actually used to receive phone books. And I used to be so happy when we would see these things on the doorstep. You'd come home and I'd see a phone book, and I would hide it in my bedroom underneath my mattress. And what I ended up doing was, we used to get hit and we would get these welts on our legs or on our arms. But I would get these phone books to protect my legs, and I would stick them inside of my pants. So that I knew when my dad was coming home and it was a day that we had argued or fought, that I was going to be in for it. So I'd run under the covers, and that nervous feeling that you get when it felt like you had to pee, because you knew something was coming, but there was nothing you could do about it. And I would go in the room and I'd shove these phone books in my legs, and I'd lay there in bed, and it would be 5 minutes sometimes, 10 minutes sometimes, and I knew as soon as I heard the door open that I was in for it. And I used to scream. Even though the phone books were taking the brunt of the damage, I used to scream just so that it didn't tip them off that I had phone books in my legs. And that went on for years. That went on for years until my mom and dad finally separated, and my mom wasn't around very much. She was too busy with work or with school. But when she was, and we would we'd get in trouble, she did the same thing. She followed in suit with my father even after he was gone, and so the abuse continued for a while, but it wasn't as intense. But the whole moral behind that story is, even through that adversity, today I don't hit my children. I don't hit my children because I don't believe that it's proper for a parent to willingly take that energy from another human being. We don't have that right as humans to inflict that type of damage on other people. And the adversity and the effects that had on me not only led to that, but my message to you today is to let you know that you can let go of those phone books. You may have not had the phone books with you, but mentally, let go of those phone books, because we continue to deal with adversity in our lives today. Adversity is going to be there every day, but all it does is strengthen your morals and your characters, and it improves your values, and it helps you to adapt to whatever the scenario is that's placed before you. And it's okay It's okay that sometimes it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. It's okay to feel like sometimes the world is dragging you down. But the easy way to overcome that is to take a step back and to view it from an outsider's perspective. And to see that rather than it being a problem that is going to overcome you, that there is always a solution that you can put in place to overcome whatever it is that's trying to drag you down. Whether it's another person, or if it's a situation at your work or in your personal life, you always have that power within you. Let go of the phone books. Start today. Be great. Serve others.